Hear you. But yes, Jessica from Toronto, welcome to Paradigm Shift Radio. What would you like to bring to the conversation?
Thank you. It's an honor to speak with you guys. Well, first and foremost, I'll begin with a philosophy that I hold, which is something that I use in as a method of interpreting this world. The idea of reflection, and this will relate to love. It'll all tie in, but the idea that everybody's a mirror, and I've noticed tonight that all of the callers that have called in are all kind of like seamlessly ebbing and flowing with one another's consciousness. It's really beautiful, and I think it's just like a really nice reflection of where we're at in the evolution of humanity right now. And as I was listening to everybody, I've had a really intense evening with my parents. John really touched on some key points there that just struck home, literally. It's been a really intense period of growth for everybody right now, as we all expand into oneness. And so as I was mentioning about the mirrors, I guess I'll just get a little personal for a second, reflecting about parenting. And I'm having these kind of arguments with my parents, and they're trying to understand where I'm coming from and how I see the world. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this.
Mm-hmm.
With their incarnated family, right? The ones we chose to incarnate with. And it's a beautiful blessing because they really show us karmically what it is that we're here to shift through and how it is that we can learn to love ourselves. And one thing I've been debating with that they've been pointing me in the direction is how do I, which we're talking about tonight, how do I get out into the world and how do I take action and how much is too much and how much is not enough. And at times it can feel, I'm sure you guys can relate to this, it just feels like an uphill battle with not being able to do enough in this world. And the topic that I was going to discuss tonight is the idea of doing like action versus non-action. There's a principle called Wu Wei, which is in Taoism. And it's an interesting principle that I try to employ in my life, which is the idea of being a river. And actually, this is a teaching that I learned literally from a river recently. And the river spoke to me and it said, you know, when there's a rock in the river, for example, let's say there's an argument you have with somebody. For example, tonight it was my parents. So, you know, there's an obstruction, there's an obstacle. What does the river do? We could refer to the river as life, or we could talk about the river being love. What would love do? Well, love would find the path of least resistance. So, and that's always what love does, at least in its perfect form, right? And being human is difficult because we are love. And we are love in every part of, every fiber of our being. We're 99% space. And that space, some say, is love. It's all love particles. And love is like the glue that holds this world together. And so it's an interesting concept.